Hi there. Today we're going to cast the carriage and talk way too much about molding. So this is the carriage pattern. I showed you this before when I was 3D printing this. This is designed by Chirpy and it's a little bit beefed up. So with that lengthy update out of the way, I have a couple of choices when it comes to molding this. Here you see the petrobond. I kind of rammed up one, shoved this in. This is sort of how he tells you to do that. Shove it in, ram it up, flip it over, dump this one out because I didn't do a very good job, then ram it in again. I forget what the terminology is for. Maybe I'll put it on the screen, maybe I won't. But the issue comes down basically to how I'm going to get the metal into here. Now, there's two approaches that I've thought of. One, just do what the book says. The book, which I have down here, I've got the page folded because I don't use bookmarks. Yes, I know they say if you fold the corners you're a bad person, but I'll take it. What he wants you to do, ram it up and use a 1-inch sprue. I don't have a 1-inch tube, but this will suffice. And just stick it right there, right smack dab over the thickest spot. Now that's a good idea because the thickest spot will freeze, it will cool off last. So this will act as like a feeder to feed it in, if this were 1 inch, because 1 inch is much bigger than this. I think this is only half, but whatever, because I'm not going to use this, it doesn't matter. The problem with this is the metal flows straight down and it gets all turbulenced up in there and all the oxide layer gets all mixed up and the metal can just go all screwy, because under here it's not like a smooth chamber either. There's like that groove and thing and a channel that goes through here, and it's a mess. But he wants you to dump it in there. So do I do that, knowing it's probably not the best idea? Or do I use my pouring basin and a tapered sprue and feed it in with like runners, and then do I use this as a feeder, not as a sprue, so that this fills up and feeds it? You know, what do I do? I decided to choose the more complicated one. But in the future, if you want me just to try the straight gingery simple method, let me know. Using the easy way isn't usually what I do. I tend to overcomplicate things to the point where nothing functions anymore. So I'm going to continue on with that strategy. And while I do that, I thought I'd take this opportunity to talk a little bit about the philosophy of the Gingery Lathe build. He thinks this should have been the other way. It probably doesn't matter. Just going to press that down in there to hold it in place while I ram it up. So yes, I kind of just implied that the gingery method of doing this wasn't the greatest. And don't take that at all as me saying the gingery book is bad. You see, there's kind of a disconnect here as far as goals that are in mind. The gingery books are not intended to teach you everything there is to know about casting perfection and or machining perfection, or even to make the very best lathe imaginable. It's actually not a very good lathe, which is not to say the lathe sucks, but pretty much any commercial lathe will best a gingery lathe in many ways. The goal of the whole book series is to teach a person with no prior experience to build a little furnace, to start making castings, and to build their own metal shop. So at the end, you can go from being a total noob to having a bunch of machine tools and knowing how to use them. And this is all done in very easy to read, approachable language. And for that reason, I think the Gingery book series is absolutely brilliant. So weeding out all the really complicated stuff that would probably just intimidate a home hobbyist into never doing it, that's actually a better approach in my mind than just doing everything super hardcore. Because the people that want the super hardcore, they'll find the super hardcore on their own afterwards. So it's kind of like it's a gateway drug, a gateway book into metal casting and machining. And man, this thing here sure sucks as a riddle. Now don't take this as me saying that the thing I'm doing right here with the feeder and the and the sprue, the tapered sprue and all that, this probably isn't the best method either. Remember, I'm just some dude in a garage. I really don't know what I'm doing. But if you want to know a little more about gating and metal flow and all that, I'm going to have to direct you yet again to SW Dweeb's channel. He's got a guy on there, did a couple of guest videos, who also has his own YouTube channel, but I can't remember his name. I'll put it on the screen. And he is actually a professional, and he's got some good, informative videos that really made me think a little bit more about metal flow and all that. So go check that out if you want better information. I can't say that I've watched all of it, all of the guy's videos on his own channel, but what I have watched has been quite enlightening. Truth be told, I've not been in the garage that much as of late. I'm sure you've noticed a lack of videos and live streams. And I gotta say, real life has just been killing me lately. Not so much physically as just mentally and emotionally. Had multiple weeks of a visitor who was very nice. That was nice, just kind of draining. And then some children illness issues. One of them was sick multiple times, a couple times more severely, involving doctors and medication and all of that. But she got better. You know, illnesses, most of the time they're temporary. But the 2-year-old, that's not such a temporary problem there. Fortunately, you know, we have health insurance. That's pretty good. I try not to worry about it, but I suppose I'd be lying if I said it totally didn't bother me. You know, sometimes things just build and build. I try not to let stuff bother me, but eventually, you know, I just kind of collapse. But I have been trying a fancy new thing called getting sleep at night. Tell you, can't say for certain, but it seems to work really well. Before you go freaking out, it's not like he's got cancer or something. He's not going to die. Just anytime there's a possibility of like lifelong issues, just makes you worry, you know, about the future and how his life's going to go. And it could be fine, you know, but uncertainty is not fun for a parent. It's definitely a major change, at least to the foreseeable future. And we'll have to see how it goes. So if I start missing a few more videos, I apologize, but I don't have an endless font of energy or time, though I will try my hardest. I mean, that's what caffeine's for, right? Okay, with that done, don't know where the camera died in that, but we're not going to add the basin, because remember, we got to flip it over and dump the bottom out. To cover this hole and to not add too much thickness, I'm just going to put a sheet of paper over that. Okay, that's a trick I figured out last time I had to do this sort of flippy whatever method. The rest of this is going to seem kind of repetitive, so I'll probably fast forward even more. Although I will say, stressful as times can be, they make you reflect, realize they could be a whole lot worse. And as Bob Ross once said, you need some rainy days so you can appreciate the sunny days, or something. But that's probably not a topic for a casting video. So you came to see me melt things, not blather on and on. Although you might have come to hear me blather on and on. If you've been here before, you kind of know the drill. It's still very cold out here. Some of you mentioned that petrobond works best in the warmth. You know, I work best in the warmth too. But that's not the life you get in Wisconsin. Okay, with that done, time to flip it over. This is getting kind of heavy. I really have to clean this workbench, don't I? This is really bad. You know, there's a method in these books where you like go rip and flip it over, and this is not the way that they do it, and I don't think I will ever do it the correct way, because that probably requires some practice. Well, at least I got the sounds going. Okay, standard method that I use for this is to jam it in, like so. Build up my little thing around it. Trying to be careful not to dump too much sand down the vent hole. Although, I will be taking it apart. It's not a vent hole, feeder hole, whatever. And then build my little ridge to make sure when I inevitably dump in too much metal and it fills up the feeder hole, it doesn't spill all over and burn my flask again. Well, in lighter news, today is my oldest kid's 5th birthday. So I have indulged in plenty of cupcakes and feeling pretty good about that. I mean, what's not to like about cupcakes, right? I've just noticed that little bit stuck in there and filled and kind of like tore out with it. There might not have been enough draft in there, and I might also not have had it glued in there properly. But you know, there's a big old feeder right above that, so I'm not too worried about the extra metal in there. We'll just continue on and see how it goes. I think the reason that was there was so that there wasn't an abnormally large chunk in the middle. We'll see if that's a problem as far as shrinkage goes. Now you see, this is the end. I have to get from there to this side of this pattern, and I'm going to do that by cutting it in this right there. Okay, well that pulled out like garbage. It's going to be a lot of cleaning up of this casting. This petrobond, I'm still noticing in this cold weather it doesn't stick like it should, and it's about 35 degrees out here. It's very cold. Fortunately, according to the weather forecast, it's going to warm up into the future. So I won't have to worry about this too much more, otherwise we're going to have to move this whole molding station indoors. And that ain't happening. There's no room. I've already stolen like so much more room from inside than I am allowed to steal. Alright, and this in-gate system that I'm doing here is very simple, and it's not great, and on second thought, it probably really isn't any better than what the Gingery book says to do. So ignore what I do, as always, and if you want the best way to do this, listen to someone else. But without further ado, I'm going to stick this back together. Oh, ruined that corner. Oh, well, stick it back together. Ooh, okay, let's try that again. Again, you're asking? Yes, well, what you didn't see while the camera was off, I was moving this over there to get set up to start the melting, and the sand fell out. So I just angrily re-rammed everything. So we're going to see when I open this up just how well angry sand ramming works, and see if that rage comes out in the casting. I think it just might, especially if this doesn't go well. It went okay, but this is a total mess now. Well, carrying this over, that happened again. So that kind of sucks. It's going to make cleanup a lot less fun. Here, let's see what we got then. Oh, more falling. You know, I still can't find that trowel that I used to use, so I'm going to have to improvise a bit. There we go. Well. Gotta clean some of this off. Look at that. Surprisingly not that bad. When I re-rammed it, the sand thing worked this time. I got some flashing here, which I'll have to clean off. But like, look at that surface finish. Not bad at all. What is bad is I got some shrinkage there, so I may have to redo this with a bigger feeder. The feeder must not have been big enough. Well, everything else went pretty well. You can kind of see here, don't know what the deal is there with that line. There must have been two streams going through here, and where it came up here, this is where the streams converged. So I guess what we can learn here is sticking a big fat 1-inch in sprue right there would have fixed that shrinkage issue. May have messed with my surface finish a bit, but I need to clean up a lot of this anyway. I guess leave more thoughts down below. Should I try to recast this and fix this issue? Obviously I'm pretty rusty as far as casting anything goes. I gotta think a little harder. Or should I just try to use this as is and clean it up? Let me know down below, I suppose. But I have some other stuff to do before I need this casting anyway. So, as it is, I'm already running late on this video for multiple reasons, including a lot of cupcake eating, previously mentioned. So, I'm going to end it there. So, hope you learned something. If nothing else, learn that I am not a good source of knowledge. So, but you already knew that, probably. So, have a good day. I will see you next time.